What's going on? Back at it again. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Don't Win Ever, and we're back at it with another episode of the Kings franchise. Bouncing back from the Udrich injury, we can see that he does have a high right ankle sprain, so he will be out for a little over a month. Definitely hate to see it, but as a team that's pretty much tanking, it's not too big of a deal. We kind of want the losses to hopefully get a top 5, top 3 pick to try to enhance this roster. But definitely doesn't set well for us coaches and GMs, as we won't get a full look at how the team is to kind of evaluate, even though we're not even 100% sure if Udrich will be our future point guard or on the roster in the future. But definitely wanted to see how Cousins and others could play with a decent shooting point guard. Going into the training schedule, definitely looking to see how our team is going to improve on our days off. Do have some solid strength training and things going on, so I left it kind of how it was. Definitely have a tough matchup versus our California rival in the Lakers, so we want to sim up to that point. Nick Gordon does have some bruised ribs, but we know he'll be able to play back, so we're not too worried about it. As we move on into the season, we did see a trade opportunity from the Sixers to get Darius Sangala and Maurice Spates for Carl Landry, a made-up player, and a second-round pick, and we're definitely going to take that. Carl Landry was solid, but he was an aging veteran on the roster, like we explained earlier last episode, and so he was expendable. And to get another bench shooter, as Spates is a little bit better at spacing the floor with his 3-ball, a little bit stronger inside. We do give up a little bit on defense, but hey, we're bad on defense. We might as well just go for age and go for youth, as Maurice Spates is only 23. Sangala is 32, but I'm pretty sure he only has 1 year on his contract, and so we want to let that expire. We just need somebody to kind of fill out that small forward, power forward role to help out. And so that's the big trade that we've made so far. Definitely think that Spates can help us as far as stretching the floor. Like I said, we're really trying to center this offense around Cousins to give him the best opportunity to dominate the paint like we know he can. And now we have to adjust the rotation again after the injury and the trade. And so we're definitely looking for Sangala, who looks to be a solid mid-range shooter and an okay defender. Looks like he pretty much is a tweener around this time period. So the 3-ball isn't as prevalent nowadays, so he is more of that mid-range demon. And so we're definitely looking for him to be our 6th man at this point, and Spates to start at that center spot to go alongside with Cousins. Maybe Cousins is more built for the 4 right now, with his interior defense not being that great, and with more teams running traditional 2 bigs in the NBA at this moment. But we do get into a game with Andre Bargnani, the young DeMar DeRozan, and those Raptors. And to bear you guys the excruciating pain, we got our butts whooped. Lost by 21 points. Cousins did have a double-double. Like I said, he is a beast on the west side up in Sacktown. Bargnani also did cook on us with 36 and 12. Man, I bet the Raptors wish they would have got this out of him for real. And then DeRozan also followed it up with a solid game, 6 for 9 from the field. Tyreke kind of struggled from 3 and struggled from the field, but he did produce 20 points, 5 assists. But like I said, just kind of going back to the previous episode, he's not a guy who really elevates his team. As we see Spates in the highlight video, he did have a solid game, it looks like, in his first appearance as a King. Solid rebounding effort. Looks like he got a couple baskets at the rim. And so did Sangala. Both of them came into the games, gave us 6 points. That's all we kind of need. We more so needed our 3-point shooters to step up, as they're still struggling early on in the season. So we take that butt whooping, take that L straight to the chin. That's a 20-point loss. To the Raptors, man. To Toronto, a young Toronto team, not the Kawhi Leonard Toronto. So we're definitely looking to increase some more training, as us and the coaches aren't having it. That's we can't have that. That's despicable. We can't lose by 20 points to a mid-level team. If it's the Heat, the Thunder, some of the other top teams in the league at this moment, that's fine. But we can't be losing by 20 points to the Raptors, man. They're just as bad as we are at this point. But after a couple butt whoopings to the Nets, Cavs, and the Raptors, we continue down the path, still on that losing streak. So that makes it 5, that makes it 6, that makes it 7, and that makes it a winless streak. We still haven't won, but the good news is Beno Udrih did recover from that high ankle sprain very quickly. Only took him 2 weeks. They said 4 to 6 weeks, but it took him 2 weeks. Comment in the chat, man, if 2K be having your players recover from some wild injuries early. I've had players in some of these franchise sims that have broken legs and came back in like 2 weeks, or came back in like 4 weeks. Like, what? You break a leg and you're back playing in a month? I ain't know that's how it worked. I'm pretty sure Gordon Hayward was out for a whole season. Plus. He was out for a season plus. But anyways, I'm kind of just talking over as we allocate more minutes. Now that Udrih is back, we definitely provide shooting all around the court for Tyreek and Cousins. And so spacing shouldn't be a problem. It should be optimal now with shooters around both of our star players that can knock down the three. As we take a look at some of our losses, you'll see a common theme, as we did only get 7 points in the first quarter. Yes, 7 points in the first quarter. We weren't even tired yet. It ain't like it was the fourth quarter. It's the first quarter. We only got 7 points. But Kobe did light us up with 29, 10, and 13 to get a triple-double. A triple-double on us. Today was a good day. And as you can see, it confirmed that we are 0-8. But like I was saying earlier, guys, you will see a common theme of Cousins doing Cousins things and the rest of the team suffering. Cousins had a great game, double-double with 5 steals and 4 blocks on only 2 turnovers. Now, obviously, we want that efficiency up a little more, but he was right below 50%, so that's not too bad on the day. Rudy Gay, Tony Allen, and Zach Randolph were there to beat us up with that gritty Memphis team out there now. And even the Steve Nash and the boys whooped on us. The Steve Nash and Dragic had 17 and multiple assists on the game. Tyreek had a pretty good game, but 1 for 6 from the three-point line, man. That three-point shooting, that inability to stretch the floor for us is killing us with him at the 2 spot. But he is still a solid player. 18, 5, and 4 is definitely nothing to laugh at, as we see Cousins is also averaging a double-double with almost 19 and 11 with a block and a steal and a half per game. Fantastic performance. We just need the rest of the guys to fill up. As you can look over to the right and see some of the field goal percentages. We got Spate shooting 38%, 37% from the field, and Caspi is shooting 38%. It's not gonna be good when you need your shooters to shoot. But we did get our first 2 wins in a row, beating the Pistons and the Knicks. So we are now not winless anymore. So pat on the back, team. We can win a basketball game. But like I mentioned in last video, we are definitely still looking to shop around Tyreke Evans. Now, obviously, he is a rookie of the year, so we're not going to give him away for just anything. Definitely want some value for him and feel like that we're getting a trade that is equivalent to his value. I'm surprised that 2K only gives him 3.5 stars. I get that, obviously, in real life, his career didn't pan out the way he probably wanted to. He did have a solid career, had a couple decent seasons. But you would think someone coming off of a rookie of the year and having as good numbers as he has, you would think he would be in the 4-star category, because he's 21, still has a rookie deal, and he just won rookie of the year. But I guess 2K already knows that I think he maxes out at like an 85, 86, and so they don't put him up that high. But anyways, we're looking for some offers. Not really seeing anything. We don't really need a center because obviously we have Cousins to build around. The biggest thing I think we're looking for is either a wing defender or a playmaking shot creator out of the one spot. I think having a point guard that can create his own shot, run pick and roll, drive and kick out to our 3-point shooters would probably be best. And speaking of that wing defender, if you guys remember, Luol Deng definitely was a beast during this time. A great shooter who played fantastic defense inside and out. Solid rebounder and a guy who could play 40 to 45 minutes if you needed to. After you look through his stats to kind of confirm how good of a player he was. Definitely thought about this trade. Definitely still thinking about this trade. Let me know in the comments if you would have took this trade. Luol Deng and a pick for Tyreke Evans. And I didn't realize Luol Deng came into the NBA at 18 because he's only 25, but he has 7 years in the league. I didn't realize that. I remember him playing for Duke. Shout out to anybody who's a Duke fan. I like all my Duke players that's in the NBA. You know, Kyrie, Deng, Cam Reddish, Marvin Bagley, obviously Paolo Banchero recently, Wendell Carter. No, I think Wendell Carter went on a different team. Did he play for Duke? I don't think he played for Duke. Excuse me on the Wendell Carter. But then, you know, obviously got Boozer, Shane Battier, Jay Williams, which you'll see in some other franchises. Just to shout out some of my Duke players. But yeah, the Bulls were willing to give us a first round lottery protected pick and Deng. Obviously that first round pick doesn't really mean much because the Bulls are a top 5, top 10 team in the league. So they're pretty much guaranteed to be in the 20s as far as a pick goes. And with it being lottery protected, that means we can't get even a top 15, top 16 pick. So with that, this is a solid trade. It's basically straight up player for player, really. The first round pick could pan out to be something, but we know in 2K, anybody that makes it into the 20s is pretty much like a 70, 71 overall player who might make the rotation. The Bobcats, after coming off their playoff run last year, were willing to offer us Gerald Wallace and Kwame Brown, but I just kept getting stuck on this Luol Deng trade. It's such a good trade idea. Definitely out of the 17 offers that were there, it definitely was the best one out of the bunch. But I'm not sure that's enough for Tyreke, but we definitely were looking to explore our options. And let me know down as in the comments as I scroll through, was there any trades that caught you guys' eyes? Any trades that you guys deemed would be worthy enough for Tyreke? As we definitely trying to keep as realistic as possible and be cognizant of the fact that Tyreke Evans was a top 5 young talent in the NBA at this point. After winning a couple games, we did go back on a losing streak, but Caspi did have a lights out game, scoring 27-3. But Chris Paul and company out there in New Orleans was just too much for us to handle, as we did lose by 1 singular point. Cousins had his usual double-double. And then as we look at a couple wins that we had, like I said, guys, common theme. Cousins is going to get a double-double. That's just what he does. He's Mr. Double-double, double scoop, double cup, double D's, double served. Everything double mint twins. He is just Mr. I'm going to get 10 rebounds at least and at least 15 to 16 points. He did finish off the evening with 19-9 in the win versus the Knicks, but that's all right. We know he's going to do what he does. It's just a matter if his supporting cast will provide the scoring around him. But obviously, if anybody knows how Cousins' career continued during his prime years, we're hoping he just goes on that trajectory and becomes that player that can carry an offense, and carry a team pretty much by himself. We're hoping putting him at the 4 allows him to be a little more flexible, allows him to exercise his good mid-range shooting and his ability to take people off the dribble. But we do get into a game with the up-and-coming Clippers squad with the potential Rookie of the Year candidate in Blake Griffin. Obviously, we have our own potential Rookie of the Year candidate in DeMarcus Cousins, so this will definitely be a nice matchup to see. As we know, Blake Griffin hopefully goes into the dunk contest and other things like he did in this season. I believe he either won or I can't remember who won. Gordon might have won this year, but I'm pretty sure this might have been. It was either this season or the next season where Blake Griffin did the whole Kia jump over the car thing. But Cousins is ready in his new position. We do have Udrich back, who recovered very well. I don't know what he did. He must have went over to them good doctors internationally and got that ankle looked at, but he is back and ready to play along with Speights. And once again, to save you guys the boredom, we're down by 12 going into the fourth. Quick update on the stats: 14-6 for Cousins, 13-4 for Evans, and everybody else with solid game. Eric Gordon is killing us right now though, with 26-5, shooting over 50% from the three and from the field on some pretty efficient shooting. We did have a second quarter collapse, which is kind of what's led to this lead that they have, and it does look like it could be insurmountable, but we are down by 8 with 5:55 to go. And I think at this point, we're going to take a look at some of the action, man. Speights does give the ball to Udrich. Swings it over the head. See if we can get some plays going. See if we can get some efficient offense. That's all I want, especially out of this first year. It's for people to adjust to the new scheme with that 7-second offense. Tyreke does beat him off the dribble, but yep. We forgot about a young DeAndre Jordan, who was also around 21, 22 at this age. He said, get that shit out of here. And that will get us to another timeout as we got to recoup. Tyreek's still trying to recover after getting his shit grabbed. I mean, he didn't even block it. He just straight up grabbed it. Like, give me that. Bullied him for the ball. And definitely want to see, where is Cousins? Where is Cousins? He is supposed to be my starting big man, our best player of the game. He is supposed to be in the game. As you can see, I'm looking all around like, wait a second, he's not here at the center. He ain't here at the power forward. Like, where is Cousins? So you do put Sungala in, and then I had to think about it, and I looked and checked and realized Cousins fouled out. Yes, he fouled out sometime early in the fourth quarter, which is why he wasn't available. And let's be real, it's no fun without our best player. Wasn't really no chance for us to win, as we did take the L 102-90, as you can see on the screen. Gordon finished up with 29, almost 30 points, and 18-12 from one of the Clippers' big men. As the Clippers have a lot of big men at this point. I mean, you got a young DeAndre Jordan, you got Chris Kaman, who was drafted just a couple years ago. Well, more than a couple years ago. He was with the LeBron James draft, so this is probably 8 years for him. And then you still have a young Eric Gordon and a young Blake Griffin. So definitely a nice solid squad for those Clippers to build around. As you can see, our weaknesses, definitely the lack of three-point shooting today and rebounding definitely kind of cost us. So we're definitely on the losing train, on the losing track, as we are 2-12 on the season. But the good thing is our team chemistry is really high and we're profitable. I know we lost fan interest because we are a losing team. Bring out the brown paper bags you put over the face with the cutout eyes. The boos. The boo you sucks. We know. Sorry to the fans. We're going to bring a championship to this Sacktown community. You guys deserve it. Forget Golden State. Forget Los Angeles. All of those teams. We're going to be the California Kings. Wait a second. Isn't that a Rihanna song? Oh boy. But we do also see an interesting trade from the Raptors. They are willing to give us some made-up guy in T. Scott. I don't know if he's Byron Scott or Travis Scott's cousins. Who knows? But T. Scott and Leandro Barbosa. So definitely an interesting guy. I believe he fits our scheme a lot better than Udrih was. Udrih is a good shooter, solid playmaker, but he isn't a quick guy that can get up and down the court, which is kind of the purpose of the 7 seconds, as a guy who can beat people down the dribble, beat people down the court, get into the lane and kick it out, get easy shots in the paint, easy shots from 3. And with Barbosa's elite quickness, he's definitely the guy for the job. Obviously, his weaknesses are he's not the greatest passer. He might get you 2-3 assists a game. And he's also definitely a liability on defense. Along with his stamina isn't very high, so he's definitely someone who is a bench player. He's not really a guy who can get starter minutes, as he only has 83 stamina, so he's more in the 20 to 25 minute ballpark, probably 28 minutes to max. So that's one of the unfortunate things as we look through Udrih. Like I said, speed with ball is not really there, but he is an elite shooter if left open. Obviously, he's a lefty, which is always fun to play with. And he's having a solid season, definitely having a down year. While Barbosa seems to be back on the uptrend with the Raptors. And so what we definitely want to do is flip some picks for this. If we're going to give up our point guard, our starting point guard, we want something in return. So this is just me skipping through, kind of fast forwarding to the trade option. What we ended up settling on is Barbosa, Greg Patterson, and Anthony Walker. I made up some guys at the wings, and a made up center who looks pretty solid, and the first round pick from the Miami Heat in this upcoming year's draft for Udrih, bench piece that was costing us too much money, and a couple second round picks. As far as the trade goes, I definitely think that we won that trade, but obviously that's my bias. We gave up a starting point guard to a team that needed it in the Raptors, who we just saw earlier in this video whooped our butts. And we get us an explosive offensive threat that can drop 15 to 20 points for us any given night, as our offense was looking pretty bad. As we look over Anthony Walker and Greg Patterson, we see they do have some glaring weaknesses in their games, but they do have some strengths that can maybe assist the team. But for real, they're just roster fillers. That's really all they are. They're just roster fillers, and Patterson might get some play time as the backup center, as we are running a little thin in that 4 to 5 position area. But definitely excited. We're making some good trades. Like I said, we're more so building for the future. We're 2-17 or 2-13. At this point, so it's no point to be trying to trade for contending players, older players. We are better off just euthanizing this group, getting younger, and seeing what they can do. As in his first game as a King, he does drop 15, 2, and 3, which is exactly what we wanted. We just need a guy who can bring some offensive explosion to the team that the rest of the team really can't provide. We don't really have a guy who has any quickness other than Tyreke Evans to beat somebody off the dribble. So having someone like Barbosa to be a secondary, even a third ball handler behind Cousins, if both Tyreke and Cousins are on the floor at the same time, is always a good thing to have. We do look at Prime Rose, who looks to be doing pretty well. Definitely want to see how his career pans out, see what happens if he doesn't get a torn ACL like we all know D-Rose got in real life. So following back-to-back losses, definitely have some tough games versus the Pacers, Lakers, and the Mavericks, following the Clippers, Wizards, and the Heat. So definitely want to have a good training regimen to have our boys ready. But yes, going back to that trade, I really think it is going to help us out, especially with our scheme. I think it gives us just more spacing, more quickness to the team. Like I said, for Cousins to explode, man, because we want to make Cousins MVP, man. We want to win championships and have our big man as an MVP, as we definitely think he can carry this league on his back if needed. Like I said from last episode, guys, we are going to take a look at the 2011 draft and it looks like it's a really good one. Obviously highlighted by the two big stars in Kyrie Irving and Kawhi Leonard. But there also is some great players after them, and Kemba Walker, Klay Thompson, Brandon Knight, Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets, Emo Jimmy, whichever one you want to call him, Tobias Harris. We do have Tristan Thompson, Jonas Valanciunas is also here. And there's also some sleeper draft picks that will go through some other NBA players that you might not have even known came out this draft. Some players like Bismack Biyombo, which if you didn't know, he actually went top 10 in this year's draft, believe it or not. I believe he went number 8 or something like that. But yes, that's who the Kings actually drafted in this scenario. In this draft, the Kings got a top 10 pick and they drafted Bismack Biyombo. But anyways, there is Kenneth Faried, Iman Shumpert, Bojan Bogdanovic, obviously the Morris twins with Marquise and Marcus, Nikola Vujacic. So a lot of good players to build around in this draft. Even if you can't get the star players like Jimmy, like Kawhi, like Kyrie, there definitely is some solid starters that we can find out of the draft. Looking at the current standings, obviously we're bottom dwellers. Only team that's even close to us is the Golden State Warriors and the Utah Jazz. But everyone else looks to be having a solid start to the season. And obviously the Thunder, Heat, Bulls are one of the top teams in their respective divisions. Followed by Magic, Celtics, Hawks. So basically, only real surprise here is the Nets. The Nets are somehow 9-10. They have almost already won more games this year than they did all of last year. So they're definitely on the up and up. It'd be nice to see them in the playoffs. And it looks like the Cavs are actually bouncing back, being LeBron-less. They're 8-10. So currently, if you guys can see, we are officially the worst team in the NBA. We have the worst record. We're even worse than the Sixers with Elton Brand and Karl Anthony, who we did recently trade, with Lou Williams, who surprisingly isn't starting, considering it looks like their starting point guard is injured. But going in with the worst record, man, never a great feeling. But we're not the Wizards. We're not going to just keep being a middle pack team and think that's going to win us championships. I'm a Wizards fan, so I can throw that shade. But Kobe does come in and dominate us once again. This time dropping 53. Kobe Bean Bryant. Move out the way, little fella. Doing everything on us, hitting the three-pointer, hitting the middies. Nice float game, dunking on us. Got plenty of boards. He was having his way with us. Even hitting his patented post fadeaway on us. Over 50% shooting. 5 from 8 for the 3. 7 rebounds, 5 assists to go along with those 53 points. No one else really scored. Lamar Odom did Lamar Odom things, but I guess when you drop 53 points, you don't need anybody to score. Cousins also had a pretty solid game versus the in-state rivals. Yamming that one home on Theo Ratliff's head, grabbing down a bunch of good rebounds, hitting some good mid-range paint shots. Love to see it. Hate to see the losing though, man. Sorry, Kings fans. Might not happen this season as far as winning that ring. Best believe management is definitely trying. Luther Head had a solid game, 20 points coming off the bench. Definitely love to see that, hitting the 3 ball. Finishing at the rim. We need that offensive explosion. And that's where I think Leandro Barbosa effect comes in, because guys like Luther Head don't have as much ball handling duties, and they don't have the ball and the defenders focus so much on them when Barbosa is around. As Barbosa did have 14 points as well. You see him catching, shooting from the corner 3, coming off the screens like we talked about earlier, and the ability to finish around the rim and finishing that in that gray area, kind of that paint mid-range area, the floater game. Tariq did have an off game, and obviously with Barbosa coming around, this does shorten Tyreek Evans' ability to be at his full peak. That's the unfortunate downside of him, is he's a predominantly on-ball offensive threat. Him being off-ball just isn't a threat. He's not really a great shooter. He's not really a super cutter like that, and so obviously his duties are going to shrink a little bit with Barbosa handling the ball more. Heading into the game versus a very good team in the Mavericks, and we do take another 15 plus point loss to that team, and 20-7 does come from Cousins. Like I said, guys, common themes. Cousins is going to do him, and the rest of the team is going to suffer. That's just the theme of today's episode, as Barbosa does come a close second behind him with 19 points with 2 assists and 2 rebounds on very efficient ball handling, only 1 turnover. So definitely like to see that. Tyreek had another bad game, only 6 points. As the Jet Terry and Dirk Nowitzki both have over 20 points. Dirk with a double-double to kick us out of there in our home court out there in Arco Arena, taking losses. I'm not even really sure the attendance was very high. I mean, who would really want to see a team that's 2-16? We're so bad. What a month. What a month or so of just getting our asses handed to us. We feel like we in the G League right now. No, but for real, feels like we're in the G League. We need some star talent. We know that this is the process. We feeling like the Sixers. Trust the process. But if you look at the team, we are bottom tier in assist. We're bottom tier in 3-point shooting. And we are also dead last in scoring. So we definitely have some problems. As we look at some positive stuff at the league leaders, we do see Dwayne Wade and LeBron are headlining the scoring department, along with Kobe, Westbrook, Bargnani, Eric Gordon, and Melo, with Blake Griffin and Joe Johnson to round out the top 10. And definitely surprised that Bargnani's doing this well. Obviously, he was drafted to be a fantastic player, didn't really pan out, but I wasn't expecting him to have this good a season. But Melo is doing beastly things out there in Denver. I love seeing that, the walking bucket, 2-way walking bucket. That's what they call Kobe. Chris Paul having a nice season, double-double with 23 and 10 out there in New Orleans. Brook Lopez showing us some good seasons. Mike Beasley, as you saw last episode, having a good season. And then if you look at the rebounding leaders, pretty much the same as how it was during this time in real life. Joakim Noah, K Love, Dwight Howard, Paul Gasol to round that group out. Rondo, Westbrook, Paul, LeBron, the usuals for the assist club, as we do still have a elderly Jason Kidd still in the league. Andre Miller, if y'all remember him, he was slow-mo before Kyle Anderson. He's still in the league. Andre Iguodala, obviously, is a young terrorizer on the perimeter defense, along with a young Paul George, who is about to come into his own in the next few years. And Serge Ibaka, which is weird, man. It's weird how Ibaka came into the league as one of the top shot blockers, and then it's like as he got older, like it happened quickly, like a season or two, he went from an elite shot blocker to just an average shot blocker. He went from like 2.5 blocks a game to like maybe 1, and now he's like more of a shooter that can block shots. But back when he was younger, oh yeah, Ibaka was blocking everything. But he is the blocks leader, and to my surprise, Kyle Lowry is actually making the most threes on the season, more than a young Steph Curry. But obviously we know that's not going to last for too long, as Curry is about to hit that explosion in the next couple of years. But it's just interesting to see that there is somebody shooting more threes out here than him. And then we take a look at the free throw shooters. Jordan Crawford, Chauncey Billups, Anthony Morrow round out that bunch. So that's how it's looking early on in the season through the first 19 games. And then what do you know? another guard gets injured. Right foot stress fracture for Barbosa, who looked to be having a pretty solid season for us. As we take a look, he was dropping 16, 19, 14, 15. Had a couple cold games, but we'll take the good with a little bit of bad. But man, the injury bug has bit us heavily this season, especially for our point guard, shooting guards. Like, we can't keep a guy healthy in that court, on that side of the court, or that position, as we did take a loss to the Wizards. But man, at this point, we might as well make Luther hit the starter, since he's the only one who can stay healthy. But Cousins did have a great game, 14, 16, 3 assists. Tyreek once again with a bad shooting game, shooting 6 of 17. Which is why we need more shooting, because we need him to stop shooting. He's not an efficient shooter, so him taking a bunch of shots never leads to a victory. As we take a loss to the Big Three, which was pretty obvious. They're miles ahead of us at this point. But we're definitely looking to stop them. We want to be a pain in their side. We know at this point, LeBron said those infamous words. Not one ring, we want 3 rings, 4 rings, 5 rings, however many rings. We never know how many rings we can get. All that good jazz. We definitely want to put a thorn in that and make sure that if possible, they win none. And speaking of injuries, I don't know what it is. Our new guys have come over to the Kings, and I guess our athletic trainers are just not doing their jobs, because now Sungala is injured. He's out for a couple weeks. And the Rockets, who are surprisingly 20-7. I don't even know how they're 20-7. But they do beat us again by 1 point, as we have a fourth quarter meltdown on the game, which is what causes the loss. And that's what I've seen through simulating and seeing some of these games, is we continuously have quarters where we just don't score. We have huge scoring droughts that cost us games. As Kmart, Aaron Brooks, and Luis Scola and Yao Ming do have a good game. I can kind of see how they're 27. Pretty good rounded overall team. No superstars. Obviously, this is Yao on his way out of the league, as obviously that nagging foot injury along with other injuries made it kind of hard for him to stay healthy. And just a simple fact, I did not realize he was 310 pounds. Like, man, 300 pounds trying to move up and down the court? No wonder he was tired. No wonder his foot hurt. I wonder how much Wemby. Now I wonder how much Wembanyama weighs, because he's like 7'4". But we do take another heartbreaking L. It's not even heartbreaking, because it's like we lose in the worst ways possible. We either lose by a point or we get completely blown out. We can't just lose by 8. It's either we lose by 1 or we lose by 25. These Kings fans, I'm sorry for you Kings fans. I'm sorry. We just either we lose by 1 or we get blown out. I'm sorry y'all have to go through this torture. But we do jump into a game with the young and upcoming Warriors. His Cousins looks like he's in good spirits, talking to Nick Gordon, Mr. 21-year-old Baldy. As Monty Ellis also looks to be talking to Nick Gordon's doppelganger on the other side. And we get ready to rumble. Hope you are ready for this action as we get into this game. Kind of like what we did with the Timberwolves game last thing. We're kind of going to check through the highlights, see if Cousins can beat on old Steph Curry, as we all know Steph Curry didn't come into the league with a full goatee. I'm probably gonna update that in future rebuilds, and hopefully 2K will work on that, because they have a young looking LeBron and a young looking Shaq. Why don't they have a young Curry? Literally all you gotta do is take the facial hair off of him. He was babyface assassin back then. But Cousins does cook up. Get him, let him cook. Early on in the game, nice filthy crossover to get the nice lay, going up 4-2. In this game, we're really looking to see how we play with the injuries, as we do have 2 guys that aren't playing right now in Sungala and Barbosa. Let's look at how we can see with a play with a limited roster and looking to see if we can still play good organized basketball even though we are a losing team right now. After Curry hit that 3 earlier, he does pull up for 2 but misses. But now it's boogie time. Boogie down the court. Boogie on. It's boogie time. It's boogie time. You know he's gonna score. Easy buckets. You too little. Get that little man out of my paint. We do set up some more actions. This is normally meant for Tariq or Udridge, but since Tariq's not really shooting too well and Udridge's not in the game, and we traded him off, now Luther Head is that distributor. But great finish to Cousins as he looks to be beasting inside today. McLeod and company can't handle his physicality. Curry already upset, talking to Ellis like, get your shit together, man. Which I don't really know why he's mad. He got literally an 8-inch advantage over him. But great early start, as we love to see the distribution. Little guys in the paint. Little guys. Cousins knows it. Trying to get our home fans back excited. As you can see throughout the facility, the stadium is not filled. Definitely empty seats all over. Definitely want to fill that up and bring some enjoyment back to Sacramento. Evans comes through, hits him with a quick scoop. Soft serve ice cream on him. Easy fillet right over the defender. And that is one of the bright spots of Cousins, bright spot of Evans, like I said. He can bully smaller guards. He definitely can bully them in the paint. But other than that, he doesn't really have that great of an offensive tool. As we go right back to bullying Curry and force the foul. Don't be mad, Steph. Take that foul, man. It's alright. Man. As we do end the quarter, missed the free throw. Definitely want to take the lead going into quarter number 2. And he missed both. Guess it just wasn't meant to be. But we do appreciate Tyreek's composure, as I would have been livid after missing both those free throws, but he seemed to be unfazed. What a leader. He do kick it around. Jeremy Lin, who's still on this roster, kicks to Steph Curry and wide open. Only that's wide open to Steph Curry, boy. What a jumper. And now Curry plays lockup defense, but it is time for a space as he shoots it. Bang! What a jumper. And that's exactly what we brought him in for, to hit those stretch threes so that they actually do have to play Tariq close. And if not, he can do stuff like this. What a fillet. What a layup on him. Lefty finish. As we watch it again, squeezing through traffic. Probably could have been a foul, should have been a foul. But anyways, it's a great finish. Radmanovic is one up at the line to tie the game up, but he misses to keep us at a 1-point lead. Swinging it up to Luther Head to Sungala, who we did have to allow to play just because of the shortness in roster. I'd rather have him playing, but just partial minutes, than have some 65 playing. As Luther Head hits a nice mid-range jumper off the screen to give us a 3-point lead. It looks like we might get win number 4 at 26. But win number 4, but double screen set for Curry, but he misses the open jumper. That's what we need all game, as we know Curry can light us up at any moment. Tariq is already tired because we have no guards really, so he has to play more minutes than he's accustomed to. And so now it is up to Luther Head for the finish, and get out of here, little guy, Jeremy Lin. This was before Linsanity. So Jeremy Lin, get up out of here, man. Luther Head showing that he can be a third option if needed. But Rodney McCray, I think his name is. Rodney McCray gets the nice dunk off the screen, taking advantage of our injured guy who can't move as much as he needs to in Sungala. So definitely smart by the computer. Also a punk move. Very punk move. But we go back to abusing them. Tariq with another quick lay, as even though he's tired, that man is getting sturdy. He must be a New Yorker. Filthy on him. Fillet right over the head. As Curry can't do nothing but sit there and shake his head, wondering, will things ever get better? Not in this universe, Steph. We're not letting y'all get all those championships like y'all did. For all we know, Klay Thompson and Draymond won't even go to the Warriors, so who knows how they'll look this time. We do have Anthony Walker, another guy we just recently traded for, at the free throw line. Hits both of them. That's all we needed from him. Monty Ellis comes up, and he's been real quiet on the day. Haven't seen much from him. It's really just been the Steph show. Back to Steph for the three. And we're definitely getting lucky that we're just getting late contest on him, as we don't want him to get hot. But look at Cousins. Yeah, flex on him, big fella. Big fella. Don't slow down, big fella. As he goes coast to coast, bullying them boys. And then Curry once again around the three. Of course, he misses the two open ones, but then he makes the one where we actually put a hand in his face. So now we got an on-fire Steph Curry. Luther Head definitely has a job cut out for him. We go completely the wrong way as Ellis crossed the shit out of us, man. Y'all don't watch that on replay. Please don't scroll back and see that again. I was so far out of the play. Like, man. He hit that fader. Tyreke Evans was just turning around. That's how bad he got crossed up. But hey, you can't play great defense when your players are tired, man. As we look about Curry still cooking coming out of halftime, giving Luther Head the work, man, the business. Hitting him with the step back midi right over his head. Can't do nothing against Curry when he is feeling it like this. Montiel kicks out to Darrell Wright. I thought I was going to switch on to somebody else, and I didn't. For some reason, they switched me on to the guy guarding Curry. Y'all, look at Sangala holding his back like he 87 years old. I mean, you got a small back bruise. You act like you about to literally decompose at any moment. He's like, oh my goodness, look at my back. I can't move at all. 2K's funny with how they exaggerate some of these injuries, boy. I mean, look at him. And then he does it again. Look at him again. You can just see him wincing. I shouldn't laugh at his pain. I'm sorry. I should laugh at his pain. This isn't a Kevin Hart stand-up. But Curry hits another three to take the 1-point lead on us. As he's looking like it's demon time, my man is ready to take over this game. He's like, my teammates aren't going to do it. I seen Kobe drop 50 on these boys earlier, so now it's my go. Cousins does have a beautiful post-spin dunk to get us to a 4-point lead going into the third quarter. Oh, Carney. His name's Rodney Carney. He only played a few years in the league, so I forgot his name. But Ellis does try to hit a on-fire Tyreke Evans, but he can't get the shot over him. So now Tyreek's like, it's my turn. Give me the rock. Let me show y'all what I can do. Hit that boy with the isolation. Like, you ain't finna mess with me, man. My turn. Hit him with a couple hezzies. Cut through. Spin move. Spin move, baby. Put him in the spin cycle. Get out of here. Tyreke was like, I'm going to show you how to take a nigga one-on-one, man. That's how you do it. Granted, he had takeover, so he had a little more of an advantage. But we won't tell nobody. Now we got team takeover. As Cousins gets the ball from Luther Head between the legs. Hop lay. Look at the team, boy. We's feeling it. Look at Cousins going crazy, going stupid. I don't know if what the animation that was. I don't know if that was like 2K copying Naruto or what that was, but his arms were swinging all kind of crazy. Steph Curry does hit us with the mean step back jumper to try to calm down the Warriors' nerves, as they are now down by 14 after that team takeover. It looks like Curry don't care. He's still cooking. Spin jumper finish over the head. And that does get us through the third quarter. I'm seeing some great finishing from Cousins. That was a great pass from Tyreke. But these boys can't stop Cousins at the rim. Dominant force. I don't know why they showed that hop layup twice. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know why he did that animation. That is such a weird animation every time I see it. As Paul Westphal looks on. I don't know why he's always looking serious. Maybe because he knows we're on the verge of firing him. And this is pretty tough to watch sometimes with a 3-22 record. But Tyreke is cooking. As you can see, 27, 4, and 7. still finishing really well at the rim. As that's the only part of the Splash Brothers before we know the actual Splash Brothers of Klay Thompson. This was the kind of mini Splash Brothers. Monty Ellis wasn't a great three-point shooter, but he could hit one every now and then. They're too small for Tyreek, but they're too quick for Tyreek as well. As Curry does hit the nice pull-up midi, but we do get a nice cut from Tyreek. Oof. Come on, Ellis. Keep up, Ellis. Nice dunk on Carney and Ellis, as that was a beautiful cut, beautiful pass by Head. Curry does try to get the pull-up midi, deep mid-range, but Luther Head does get a late contest. And it's boogie time. It's boogie time. Look at that fillet, boy. My man Boogie is ready today. Already has a double-double on the game with 26 and 11. But that's just physical, man. How can you stop a big beast like that, moving that quick and having that much agility getting to the paint? But once again, like what's been happening all game, every time we try to take a huge lead, Curry answers back. Nice mid-range pull-up. Ellis on Cousins. Cousins trying to stay pretty good defense and a great contest on that three-pointer. That's what we love to see. We think with him having such good quick feet at his size, that's a beautiful thing that he can do. At least somewhat play that perimeter defense. But as we get through the highlights and everything, we do wrap up with our fourth victory, 93-100, as we do out rebound, out block, and out assist our opponent, as you can see on the bottom with the achievement. And so that is a lovely victory to get. We win our first played game. Obviously we've been simming some games, but our first full played game we win. So lovely to see. We were able to dominate the paint, dominate inside, with the Warriors having a smaller team. Our shooters did shoot when they could, made a few jump shots that kept it viable. As we see our youngin' Greg Patterson that we recently traded for. We see Spates that we recently traded for. So a lot of new additions that made small pieces of the game that led up to this victory. So definitely gives us future hopes and a good evaluation point to see what happens when our team is successful. What does that look like? Looks like very good games from Tyreek, very good games from Cousins, and good shooting all around from our role players. Solid rebounding as well. Look at Tyreek. We're going to start calling him Tyreek the Freak. My man is going crazy out there. Every game we seem to watch, that man drop 30. He must love when the cameras is on him. Them scoop shots is nice, as he did finish a very efficient percentage, and so did Cousins with a great game as well. And we knew coming into this game, they had nobody for him. No center really yet. No big that could really slow him down. And with that, you ain't got no bigger center. Shit, Cousins is just too much down there. Too much. Every finish possible. Layups, dunking it home, finishing around the rim. Love to see it. 30 points, 11 assists. 11 rebounds and 2 assists. Like I said, Spates had 13 and 8, which is what we traded him for. Luther Head had a solid game. He orchestrated like we needed him to. Especially playing that many minutes more than what we expected. So definitely love to see a good win, especially coming off of a couple injuries and Sungala being limited. But now we are facing a tough Nugget squad. As you can see, we have improved our record. We did get a couple more wins throughout this stretch. But I definitely thought us playing against a playoff team now after playing a team that's more on our level, I think playing a playoff team is definitely a good way to have a good barometer or parameters for how well our team really is. We know we're bad, but is there something in there? Can we be one of those teams that's a dark horse? Or can we be one of those teams that ruin playoff chances for others? As similar to other games versus good opponents like the Lakers, like the Mavericks, we did thoroughly get our asses handed to. Melo, as you see him through these highlights, had a field day. Dunked on Sungala, something vicious, man. Hurting that boy's feelings. Moving Walker all the way out the paint. Hitting mid-range jumpers on us. Getting the rebounds. Finishing over Caspi. Middies on us. Three-pointers over our heads. Post fades. He hit us with everything in his bag, man. We had no chance for Melo all game as he dropped 32 and 4 on us. Ty Lawson, surprisingly, an 82 to be 5'11". I don't even remember Ty Lawson having that good a career, but he's an 82 as we lost by over 40 points. Yeah, we just don't talk about that game. But yeah, back to the good news. When we did win, it was versus a really good Hawks team. As we know, around this time is when, the Hawks had, I think it was a record for having pretty much the whole starting lineup make the All-Star game. Almost around that time. So we did beat the Knicks again, and the Pistons and the Hawks to get our record to finally double digits with 10 wins, 29 losses. We did beat the Wizards as well. So we definitely can beat borderline playoff teams. We can beat the lower level teams, but the really good teams, no chance. But what we really want to focus on is getting close to the trade deadline. As in next episode, we probably will look at the All-Star break and get more towards the end of the season, as we know this team is not a playoff roster, and we're definitely excited for the offseason. But as we get closer to that trade deadline, I realize the urgency in trying to get a good pick, since this is a pretty solid draft, and getting Tyreke out of there, since we're already a pretty lost cause on this season. And like I said earlier, I don't believe Tyreke is a future building block with Cousins. Not a bad player, I just don't think he gels very well with Cousins. And so we're looking at this Suns team, and we see a lot of aging talent, but some young players that can provide some additional defense for us, and hopefully some draft capital, since the Suns are having a pretty bad season. But we're definitely looking at Dudley, who was always a solid player, guy who can catch and shoot, pick and pop the three-pointer, plays pretty good interior and perimeter defense. But we're not going to just ask for Dudley first-round pick for Tyreke Evans, man. Tyreke Evans won Rookie of the Year last year, man. Put more respect on his name. And he just dropped 30 on somebody's head, man. Don't put no disrespect on him. But we do see another young talent in Goran Dragic, who, if you guys don't know, before his Heat days, my man was a beast out there. Him and Steve Nash was definitely cooking it up during this time. And so we do want to add Goran Dragic and Jared Dudley to go along with an unprotected first-round pick. And the GM tells us that's not enough. We're like, all right, bet. We got something better for you. How about we throw in, not Mo Spates, maybe not Moe Spates, because we just got him. But if we need to, we might throw him in there. But what we will give him, we'll give him that first round pick that we got from the Landry trade. So we'll give them the Miami Heat unprotected pick, because we know that is going to be like a 28th, 29th pick, 30th pick, as we already know the Heat going to be top 3. Because as we look through these many suggestions, they wouldn't even take Tyrese and Spates. So definitely think the trade simulator got a little more difficult, at least in my eyes, because Tyreke was 83 and these guys are 270s, and they wouldn't even give us a first round pick. Now granted, the Suns were in just as bad shape as we were at this point in the season, so I guess they were looking forward to that first round pick as well. But we need some draft capital, dang it. So we're still trying to find options. We're looking. I'm trying to do my GM duties. And that's when the magical idea of the Heat pick hit my mind. This is when perfect GMing fuses together. This is when we're in our plus ultra, in our bag. Because, like I said, that pick isn't going to do much for us. It's basically almost a second round pick, because the Heat are going to finish number 2, number 3 record. But yes, as you guys know, kind of foreshadow, we do get the trade to go through as we watch my GMing live and in action. So like I said, we do give up Speights, Tyreek, and the first round pick from Miami for Dragic, Jared Dudley, and an unprotected first round pick, with their pick hopefully going to be in the top 10 this year, as the Suns are definitely struggling on the season. So not only are we going to watch and make sure that we're not that great, we also want to make sure the Suns don't finish up that great. Because I believe even though they did get Tyreek Hill, their team did not get good enough to improve their record, as we did just take 2 key players away from them. So we definitely are under the likely assumption that they're still going to be bad. So after that trade, put in the comments, man, what do y'all feel like that was a good or a bad trade? I know we just got Speights and we got rid of him that quickly, but he wasn't shooting very efficiently from the field, and his interior defense didn't help alongside with Cousins. I felt like Cousins was better to have a stretch 4 with him and just put him back at the center role. I thought that would be better for him than him being at the power forward. It just wasn't really working. And we had to move on from Tyreek, because I feel like this is the draft where we can really make a huge impact, maybe possibly getting Kyrie, Kawhi, or Jimmy Buckets. But that is going to be it for the video, guys. Had to leave the plot twist, the cliffhanger at the end with the big trade. Let me know what you guys think of the trade and how you think our team is going to respond after this, and how well you guys are looking forward to the series. Just let me know if you guys liking the series, loving the series, if you guys liked all the trades we made, all the transactions we made, and if you think we can build this into a championship roster the next couple years. But as always, guys, I appreciate you guys liking the content. Make sure you follow, subscribe, like the video, and peace, love, blessings. Boy, that boy Dragic finna be a beast. Y'all just wait and see.